Alrighty, everyone, we are here with some Three Kingdoms for our battle replay this week. This is part 2 of our battles, and this time we actually convinced the other side to go full random as well as us. Of course, we don't break the rules, so anything that went over on the rule set, we basically just replaced. That was the only stipulation to that. Replace it with what you can, but you can't take out anything more. But on the bad guys, because they're not Joe or I. We have ourselves Lu Bu as the commanding general for this right-hand army, and Sheng Jiao for the commander for the left, or the technically their left-hand army. On top of that, on the good guy side, we have Zheng Zhao, or no, sorry, not Zheng Zhao. Sorry, that's my bad. That's that boy. We have Zhang Fei. Sorry, that's my bad. Over here, brought to us by Joe on it. And of course, Xiao Yu, brought to us by me. Because apparently I can't get away from Cao Cao, even when he's on the enemy team. With that, we should get this battle started. No, before we do. Interesting strategy here. Since all these units are vanguard, infantry is going to take this hill with that heavy repeating crossbow behind it. Then, of course, cavalry in the back to aid. With Joe, of course, having his own guerrilla troops here, as you can see. A few more archers, but less infantry. And what we couldn't bring up, we have back here. With Joe, he's also got some cavalry over here, bringing us Zhang Fei, as well as some trade dragons. Some cataphracts. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, the trade dragons are really interesting unit. Yeah, those fancy boys. I don't know what it is about shock cavalry, but they gave them the low damage modifier for some of the elite ones. Vulnerable to spears. Weak against missile attack. It's a good one. But with that, we will get this party started. Well, you know what? The one thing that is very scary, of course, is the Defenders of the Empire. That is probably the most terrifying unit that they have. They do have a lot of cavalry. I'm not as scared of them. The Destroyers of Treachery are scary because of the splash attacks. But that's pretty much what I'm scared of. But let us get started. It's only 12 minutes, so I should stop screwing around. Alrighty, getting started here. The push for the hill takes effect immediately while the cavalry moves up. If you hear the clicking in the background, that's my apologies. It's mechanical keyboard. I try to knock it out as much as possible, but sometimes it doesn't fully get it. With them taking the hill, the cavalry were forced to pull back, though some are still trying to rotate the left. But with this, we have a little forward operating base that we can hit hard on. I did group select with the cavalry to hit all their cavalry, make it a bit easier. But the cavalry pushes out of the woods, and infantry moves up to support. Heavy repeating crossbows starting to get into this Destroyers of Treachery, the one that I'm scared of. Because, goddamn it, splash attacks on shock cav is not something I want. With this, they don't notice the cavalry hitting them in the back. As such, devastating initial charge from my cavalry here. Wrapping around, overwhelming, as you can see. Tiger Cubs dropping. That unit of Mountain Sabers dropping. Same with those Northern Lancers. And those Peasant Raiders. So with that, the cavalry gets pulled up. Some of my favorite infantry in the game, these assault infantry. They're going to do some real damage. With this, a lot of the cavalry goes to our favor. Over here, it's a more defensive battle. Of course, the infantry here is pushed up. However, the Shang Zhao's forces do have more infantry there. Righteous Vanguard's doing what they can, just tying up in the background, getting into ranged. They are vulnerable to spears, but they have a very good charge, so they've done a good amount of damage here. 50 kills forcing the archers away, giving us a little bit of supremacy. Cavalry or infantry rotating out to try to do some damage. And now wrapping around. Cavalry fight being in our favor, though they'll rout and come back. A lot of the infantry dead. Defenders of the Empire here are very dangerous. But very heavy victory for Joe and I. Especially in the mobility game. Surroundings going on. As well as just continuing to surround in. Generals moving out over to help out Joe's army. Because they have a lot of cavalry rotated over there. And of course, this is where I think one of the biggest mistakes gets made. I do separate out my forces, cavalry forces, a lot, so they cannot support each other. So you're going to see what happens soon, especially with those sentinel, but a shock, very powerful shock cav infantry. But here, continuing to break, Guangzhou infantry are going to drop. These defenders of the Empire are going to last forever. Over here, more infantry dropping, rotating around, trying to break through. There are 3 defenders of the Empire that are unbreakable, and here it goes. Nice play with the remnants of that Destroyers of Treachery. They're going to smash through this cavalry force, and the majority of my cavalry is going to die here, of my elite cavalry. My raiders, which are a really good unit, are too far away to help. Right, and that unit fighting the Tiger Clubs, of course, couldn't help, or Cubs couldn't help. So as such, they're going to take control of the cavalry fight over here.
How many have you killed? Not enough, I think.
Over here, this cavalry fight's going in our favor. However, Zheng Fei is dropping to Cao Cao, which is as needed. Cao Cao's winning without any support, because Cao Cao's the greatest general of all time. Obviously. Yeah, over here, I mean, trying to break through. This unit just stopped moving, or is fighting the remnants here. Chanter's a really good unit. Buffs. That defender of the Empire down to 63 men, but they're not going to break, obviously. Peasant Spearmen coming in. Archers trying to do what they can to break through. However, this is huge. This Tiger card broke into my cavalry. And now these guys are about to have free reign. And the biggest issue is all this infantry is tied up fighting these unbreakable infantry. As such, Joe's lines are beginning to crumble pretty heavily, as you can see. Then we managed to wipe out this side. Those raiders are still holding out. That's why I love them so much. But
The enemy unit flees. What cowards?
as you can see here, they're kind of being wiped out by ranged fire and being shot in the back. G Militia, Yellow Turban Spears, basically the Militia of Virtue, which are very strong, are staying in place. However, here, Chanters pulled around. Yeah. Over here, continuing. To be honest, this cavalry fight is ending up in the bad guy's side. With the power of Hwongo. To be honest, better shock KF. Here the generals are breaking through, getting into the march of ranged. Of course, this is both armies' ranged units. They rotated this way. But Cao Cao and Lu Bu are about to just... Lu Bu especially is about to just start racking up kills. Breaking into the ranged flank of here. He started at 70 kills. He has literally doubled his kill count. One of the most powerful shock cavalry in the game, even in records mode. With that, Cao Cao and Hian Gao are now going to break through here. 28 men left there. Now there are some pretty elite infantry chanters mixed with militia virtue can do well. And still cavalry force as all their ranged gets dropped. Zealots of the way as well. As long as this ranged unit can continue to fire, this is very useful. Even though they're not getting many kills, they're doing a lot of damage. With this, I mean, they're coming on in again. Those two are. Breaking into the Scholar Warriors. Oh gosh. Yep, just shatter them. Fucking monsters. Him and Sunset are just monsters. But with this fight is pretty much over. There is 4 minutes left where we try to reinforce, come back around. Do what we can to eliminate, as you can see. But cavalry's away from the infantry, so Lu Bu can just do this. Holy shit. This is just going to be watching Lu Bu at this point. Let's just watch Lu Bu. It was really, this made the land battles really interesting. We did completely random army comps outside of course if it broke the rules. We made it so they didn't break the rules. But yeah. That's South 208. 174. But as you can see here, just a few units. When it comes to infantry, it's literally these defenders of heaven, or of the Empire, that have just saved the day. Because they were getting rear charged and surrounded. If we could have shattered their infantry, it would have been our victory. If I didn't misplay my cavalry, it would have been our victory at this point. Instead of a fight that we're on the back foot of. Like, this would have been over, is what I mean, I should say. But, this fight, of course, a lot of the enemy is scattered. The issue is, well, one, that motherfucker right there is going to slaughter us all. But two is these unbreakable infantry that I've yet to kill a single one of. There's one down to 5. Oh, here comes Lu Bu again. Might as well. Just smashing up through, up to 403 kills. Still down to 5 men. Deemed outlaws. But cavalry coming in, trying to get a victory here. Basically, if we can eliminate the cavalry, we can win. As such, you can see a lot of forces are being committed to this. Basically, the healthy generals. Same with Zhang Fei. He's going to come in for a rear charge along with the strategist, which is going to be very powerful for us.
Was that really the best you could do?
However, we're starting to rout out. I mean, that's 50 kills on a cavalry charge. With this, forces are going to start to crumble out. 1 man left. 1 defenders of the Empire left. And he did die. We did manage to kill 1 of the defenders of the Empire. The other 2, of course, are not healthy. 28 men.
Our ally has been
55.
struck down.
How's Lu Bu doing? 443? Yeah. And all that's left is an unbreakable Sima Luan. Pretty much. But with that, that is the end of it. Very heavily favored towards Joe and I early on. However, 2 misplays, or well, two factors basically lost us the match. One, I screwed up the cavalry and I lost all of them. If I had them committed together, I at least would have drawn even, which would have helped us out. But second were these defenders of the Empire. Because we couldn't kill them fast enough, they left pockets that Lu Bu could get around and rear charge. And that we couldn't commit the force to fighting the stronger front, which was this side here. Which was very good on their part. They put a smaller front here on the side, especially when they realized they weren't doing too well. But they did have their unbreakables committed in, which won them the game. Any other points or preferences that you think would have won us the game? Be more than happy to hear. But it was a fun one. Random factions and random generals. Didn't really know what we were getting into. 447 on Lupu. God. Monsters. Yeah, those are the defenders of the Empire. This guy is a unique unit from Mandate of Heaven. He is probably one of the hardest starts, but he has two unbreakable units that are just, or well, one unbreakable unit and that splash attack shock cavalry, which are just monstrous if they're used right. And of course, that is all for this time. You all have yourselves a wonderful day. Bye for now.